A new era is dawning in entertainment, and fans have more power than ever before. Today, we'll talk about the fact that some people out there suddenly changing movies and making their own brand new cuts with brand new scenes made with AI, distributed across the internet, and now vying to be the official version of the film. Hello fans, hello friends, welcome back. It is yet again another video of excellence on the way today, and we bring you content all the time, the kind of stuff you just have to see. Drive-bys, get your jumbo pencils ready. It's time for tomorrow's headlines. Today we're stopping by Star Wars and AI videos, now inserting full scenes into the movies to try to fix them. Is it right? Is it wrong? Click the like button and we'll explain right now. We've been predicting it for a very long time, and now that time has arrived. Fans are deciding it's their place to fix the mistakes made in movies, at least as they see it. For the very first time ever, folks, they are now going out there with AI and redoing the movies. And the first example of this comes to us from the Sensenig, who says the duel between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader in Star Wars A New Hope 1977 always felt too short. This version gives the fight the scale it deserves. Now, the rules for what we can play here on the channel are very strange when it comes to AI. I don't know if we can play this clip of Darth Vader facing with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I don't know because I don't know who owns this. And I don't know what the legal rules are yet. Nobody does either. It's a gray area. I'm going to play 4 seconds because that's fair use, just so you can see what's going to happen. But it starts off with the exact scene, the way it goes, but then it turns into this. And I'll play again, 4 seconds, 17 seconds our start. We'll end it at 21. Here we go.
You can't win, Darth, if you strike me down.
So you can see there, it's the normal kind of opening. We'll play 4 more seconds right here. So it's a minute and a half of what people want. Obi-Wan really fighting Darth Vader. This is just the beginning, but I don't know if this is what people want, because now we're going to have many different competing versions of these movies and people inserting their own additions and their own versions of it. Culture, where do you think this goes? Is this a good thing or a bad thing for people to go back and retroactively fix the films? Because if you fix it, other people are going to say, no, that's not the way I want to fix it. And there's going to be, 15 other ones out there. And I don't know how one rises to the top, or we decide which one is the best to see. What say you, sir?
I think we just bring back the original film that I saw, when it released into theaters when I was a little kid. I don't like anybody's fix. You can make extended scenes or alternate versions, and that's what we should, call these.
But hold on now, Culture. Hold on. Yeah. I agree with you on A New Hope. Okay. Yeah. But that's my preference. Yeah. Last Jedi, when you say, well, would you go back and fix that? That changes things a little bit. Or there are films where there's just something that wasn't done right. You say leave them alone, though. Make your own stuff.
Well, yeah, and I think we scrap all of the sequel trilogy, and that solves a huge problem. I think you find a way to get rid of all the the geopolitical talk in the Phantom Menace, and you focus more on Darth Maul. I think that was the biggest mistake they ever made in the franchise's history, is the elimination of the big bad that should have been throughout those 3 films. So George has made some mistakes along the way. Marcia usually cleaned them up. Let's be honest about it. And that's he didn't have anybody there to do what Marcia was doing with the prequel trilogy. So I look back very fondly at all the 6 original films, and I say, okay, well, let's finish it here. And if you want to take a point and jump off with it, if you want to go back into the legendary canon we got with all the books and comics and things that followed after, go for it. Everything that was decanonized by the silly lady that was at Lucasfilm, you bring it back. Make those things the next Star Wars. And I think that fixes an awful lot of problems for people. So that is a quote unquote fix. And everything else should just be, left to what it was. And we just need, like I said, restorations of the original versions, because the extra added stuff was unneeded in, the 70s. We certainly don't need it now.
Well, Nat, one of the reasons this caught my attention was, the AI is getting so good that whoever did this, they actually made it look as bad as the 1977 film does. And I'm not trying to be mean, but technology has progressed. And so the way that it was shot in the film and the expenses that George Lucas had, the budget was much smaller. The AI managed to make it look. So when we're going through the frames of this, and you say, well, that doesn't look very good. It looks really blurry and, the lighting is not well captured. And well, yeah, it looks like the 1977 original version of Star Wars. And that's where I'm rather amazed, because I think we're going to get versions, and I don't know that they're worth watching. I think culture is probably right on this, but we're going to get new cuts of all kinds of films where people say, this is how it should have been. This is how it should have played out. You're going to get a new version of the Titanic, right? Where Rose doesn't let Jack go down in the ocean. You're going to get all that. And people are going to put their own cuts out. I don't know how the studios are going to respond to it, especially if it's not monetized, and especially if some people start watching those things and saying, yeah, that actually is better than what James Cameron did. That's going to be a strange reality. How do you think this plays out, Nat?
As I always mention on this channel and all other channels, I'm not a fan of AI, but if people want to do it to entertain themselves, then that's fine, I guess, or just leave the story as it is and make your own stories. But at the same time, I do agree with the murkiness of what do the studios think, what do the original creators think, if they're still with us, what will be the repercussions for somebody that tries to exactly monetize it or do something else with it or bring it elsewhere as well. Like, that's all very murky territory, and I don't think we're getting a lot of answers yet as to where legalities lie and where creativity and originality will go from there, because you can make something really creative by fixing something, but you can also make something that's your own and a new story, and we just keep getting the same rehashes, and I think that's one thing everybody's tired of.
One of the things that I was really interested in is when we had the recent the AI video that got everybody's attention, because it was one of those leaps forward that had Tom Cruise fighting
Brad Pitt.
Okay. I expected Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise to come out with a statement later on and say, but no, there was silence. And I just, thinking about this, Alec Guinness is clearly in this, and James Earl Jones' voice is being replicated in this. I wonder what their estates are thinking about that, and what are the rules, and can they actually stop any of this from happening? I assume they can't, because it's part of the broader Star Wars property, but culture, it's got to be a strange thing, the fact that we can now, it's not a studio that can do it, it's anybody can bring back any celebrity to be in any role, and so far, there's no legislation, there's no rules about this. You can do anything. Yeah.
There really aren't any guardrails. This is the thing Jonas was talking about in a different way. There's no guardrails on AI, especially now. I think GitHub, it now has not only repositories available, but they also have some of the basics to get you started just on your laptop. You don't really need something like Llama. Microsoft released something, I think, a year ago that is essentially the equivalent of what we're getting now, and it generates like 7 tokens a second or something ridiculous. And I look at that, and I all I can think about is what's the next quantum leap forward. Because the family shouldn't be worried about stuff like this. I don't think the image and likeness people even realize how close this stuff's going to get. People are gonna reflect on this period of time as like the dawn of it, even though we're many generations into it. Because, I mean, that particular scene you were showing, I'm thinking, well, if they understood that the material science behind those freezer pallets, which are what are up on the wall that are lit from behind through plexi to create that, that good wall lighting that they created, or the channel lighting that was created, I think you'd get even higher quality, and you could elevate this to a whole new level. You could create entirely new scenes. You could go back and recreate the encounter, the original encounter between Darth Vader, better than what was done on the the original set of the last prequel. You could go back and make things look better. The problem, again, to me, it's like, hey, you could do this, but should you? And that's the problem. This is where we are with technology, and it's something we talk about in science fiction all the time. You can do things, but should you? It's the same reason. Like we can definitely splice things together. We have the technology to start enhancing humans. Should we?
Well, that's a great question, Culture, because, and Nat, I'll hand this to you. What we're watching, when we're watching James Earl Jones' voice be used and Alec Guinness be put back into a scene, it's a little bit of a digital resurrection. It's kind of like a little bit of digital necromancy. And I think we need to get permission from people, and then we need to really consider what the ramifications are, because all you have to do to step outside of the bubble of, well, I want my entertainment, I want my Star Wars, is you have to think, okay, well, what about if you had a beloved grandparent and somebody went back and got your home footage, right, your home videos, and got video of your grandparent that you love, and had AI make your grandparent tell you happy birthday for your next birthday? That would be creepy and unsettling. And I can immediately say, I would be like, this is horrible taste. Why did you do this? That's not my grandparent. That's an AI. But okay, so it's really weird too, right? Because I've also seen videos of people going back and finding an old photo from the 1940s or the 1950s, and they bring it to their loved one who's 80 or 90 years old, and they've animated it with AI so that they can watch it, a 5-second clip of, oh, it's actually moving, and it brings back to life a memory for them. And that seems to be okay. So I don't know what the lines are. I just know that there are some things that feel creepy. And I just know that if you go back and you fix something that George Lucas did, and it's not George Lucas that did it, it doesn't feel like that's still really Star Wars. Nat, help me make sense of all this.
It does feel like uncanny valley, and where are those moral, even like the morality of it, and the lines of the morality lines, and the what is right, what is wrong, just because you can, should you, is it a good idea? And I think because of the innovation and the technology, and everybody gets really excited, people stop thinking about that. And I go back to maybe getting too philosophical, but the sanctity of life and of creation and creating a story maybe. But I was thinking at the same time, on the other hand, a lot of our stories are just repeats and different versions of other stories that were told beforehand. So in the sense of using AI to create your own stories in a cheaper and easier way than having to have a studio and then bring it to the studio heads, etc. In that way, it's positive. But then exactly when it comes to individuals, or when it comes to the legacy of someone like Earl Jones, or of Guinness, or anybody else that was in the movies that's no longer with us, Princess Leia, for example, what would they think? What would their families think? Because they were people. And if you recreate them digitally, does that take away from their legacy, their humanity, and who they actually were? Because now you're not respecting the person, you're respecting what you want them to do, or what somebody else wants them to do.
You've turned them into puppets.
Yeah,
so it's very difficult to figure out how this all goes. But one thing is for sure, it's the wild, wild west when it comes to what's happening in AI. And there doesn't seem to be any addressing this from the octogenarian legislative groups out there who probably still don't know how to use a web browser, know what one is. So get ready, folks, because all kinds of new cuts and versions of your favorite films are on the way from people who may or may not have the best interests of the franchise at heart. Get ready. It's a starkly different era we're going into than the ones we've been in before. Well, folks, we've come to the end of another video of pure excellence and fun, explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. That's what we hope you believe we've just done. And why should you believe it? Well, because we've done our very best to make it so, to be true, to be factual, and to do what the mainstream so-called access journalists simply won't. Folks, you can help share this out across the fruited plains of YouTube by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we get ready to say sayonara for now, we ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep having fun.